The sleek conference room of Sterling and Maxwell Investment Partners hummed with anticipation. Around the mahogany table sat the elite of the financial world. Or at least, that's what my brother-in-law James Sterling would call them. I adjusted my simple blue suit, intentionally less flashy than the designer wear surrounding me. "Mr. Zhang," my assistant Amy texted, "final documents are ready. Announcement in 20 minutes. I smiled, touching the worn leather wallet my father had given me before he passed, his reminder that true value isn't always visible on the surface. Today Michael Zhang, the quiet Asian kid, who married James's sister Sarah, would reveal himself as the mysterious owner of the Phoenix Group, the investment firm that had been systematically acquiring Sterling and Maxwell's assets. "What are you doing here?" James's sharp voice cut through my thoughts. He stood at the head of the table, his Italian suit practically radiating disdain. "I received an invitation," I said quietly, holding up the meeting notice. James snatched it, his face reddening. "This must be Sarah's doing. This meeting is for serious investors, Michael. Not whatever it is you do." His partner, Maxwell, smirked from his leather chair. "Come now, James. Surely your brother-in-law manages some investments? A small retirement account, perhaps?" The room filled with carefully modulated laughter. These were people who considered my wife Sarah's teaching career an embarrassment and my modest financial consulting business beneath notice. "Actually," I began, but James cut me off. "This is a meeting about the Phoenix Group acquisition," he sneered. "Something far beyond your capabilities. Please see yourself out." 5 years ago such casual dismissal would have stung. But that was before I'd built the Phoenix Group into a silent powerhouse, before I'd orchestrated the most elegant acquisition in recent financial history, all while they dismissed me as the quiet Asian son-in-law. "Of course," I smiled, noting how my calm unnerved James. "I'll leave you to your meeting." As I walked out, I heard Maxwell's carrying whisper, "Really, James, how did your sister end up with someone so unremarkable?" If they'd bothered to look beyond their prejudices, they might have noticed that the Phoenix Group had been systematically acquiring their debt, their clients, and their market share for months. That their major accounts were now controlled by my shell companies. That their prestigious investment firm was already mine. I took the elevator to the mezzanine level where Amy waited with our team. "Everything's in place, Mr. Zhang. The board members are all here." I straightened my tie, a simple silk piece that probably cost less than James's pocket square. "The voting shares? 82% secured. More than enough to ratify the takeover." "Perfect." I touched my father's wallet again, remembering his words. "Let them judge the cover. You write the whole book." Through the glass walls, I could see James and Maxwell preparing for their presentation, probably planning to brag about their masterful handling of recent negotiations they'd actually been having with one of my subsidiaries. "Mr. Zhang," Amy checked her watch, "it's time." The conference room's screens lit up with the Phoenix Group's logo. Maxwell stepped forward, tapping his glass for attention. "Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a historic moment for Sterling and Maxwell. After months of negotiations, we're finally meeting the owner of the Phoenix Group." James straightened his tie, probably preparing to take credit for orchestrating the deal he thought would save their failing firm. "As you know," Maxwell continued, "the Phoenix Group has been the driving force behind the market's biggest moves this year. Their anonymous owner has demonstrated remarkable insight and strategic brilliance." The crowd murmured appreciatively. The financial world loved its mysteries, and the Phoenix Group's unseen owner had been their favorite topic of speculation. So without further delay, please welcome the founder and CEO of the Phoenix Group, Michael Zhang. I stepped back into the conference room, watching as James's face went from confusion to disbelief to horror. Maxwell, reaching for his chair, missed completely and stumbled backward. "Thank you, Mr. Maxwell," I said into the stunned silence. "Shall we discuss the future of Sterling and Maxwell?" James's water glass slipped from his trembling fingers, shattering on the marble floor. "This is impossible," he stammered. "You're nobody. Just my sister's quiet husband." I smiled, channeling years of patience into this moment. "Actually, brother-in-law, I'm your new owner." The conference room at Sterling and Maxwell crackled with electric tension. The polished financial elite who moments ago had been smirking at my presence now sat frozen, watching their carefully constructed world dissolve. Amy, I nodded to my assistant who began distributing leather portfolios to the board members. Let's review the terms of the acquisition. You can't be serious, James sputtered, his designer tie suddenly seeming to choke him. This is some kind of joke. A trick. Maxwell, finally recovering his balance, grabbed one of the portfolios. His face went pale as he flipped through the pages. These signatures. These dates. This is impossible. Actually, I pulled up detailed transaction records on the conference room screens. It's been in motion for 3 years. Every major client you've landed since then? They came through Phoenix subsidiaries. Those brilliant market plays you took credit for? My strategies. James lunged forward, his carefully cultivated composure cracking. Sarah put you up to this. My sister always was. Leave my wife out of this. I cut him off, my voice carrying a steel edge that made him step back. Sarah knows nothing about Phoenix. She thinks I run a small consulting firm, which I do along with managing over $50 billion in assets. The room erupted in whispers. The Phoenix Group's true value had been one of Wall Street's biggest mysteries. Mr. Zhang, Amy announced, the SEC filing is live. The screens filled with breaking news headlines. Mystery solved. Phoenix Group acquires Sterling and Maxwell in historic deal. Wall Street's ghost investor revealed. Asian American entrepreneur behind year's biggest financial coup. You've been playing us, Maxwell realized, his arrogance deflating. All this time. Playing you. I smiled. Oh, I've been watching you. Learning from your mistakes. Building something better while you were too busy mocking my modest career to notice. Amy stepped forward with more documents. Detailed reports of Sterling and Maxwell's declining performance under James and Maxwell's leadership. The lost accounts, the regulatory violations, the systemic discrimination that had cost them top talent. Your father, I addressed James directly, built this firm on integrity and innovation. You turned it into a country club for your ego. Don't you dare mention my father. James's face purpled. You're not worthy to speak his name. Actually, a voice came from the doorway. He is. Everyone turned to see William Sterling Sr., James's father and the firm's founder, walking into the room. He'd retired years ago but still held significant voting shares. Dad. James stammered. What are you doing here? Supporting the best investment decision this firm has made in years, the elder Sterling replied, nodding to me respectfully. I've been watching the Phoenix Group's moves. Brilliant work, Michael. Exactly the kind of strategic thinking this firm needs. The other board members murmured in agreement. They'd watched helplessly as James and Maxwell had steered the company toward mediocrity. The numbers don't lie, I continued as Amy displayed financial projections. Under current leadership, Sterling and Maxwell has lost 35% market share. Your tech infrastructure is outdated. Your best analysts are leaving for competitors. Maxwell stepped forward, attempting damage control. Our clients trust us. Our reputation is built on past glory, I finished. Want to know how many of your loyal clients have already moved their major accounts to Phoenix? Here's a hint, check your top 20 list. The screens displayed account transfers that made several board members gasp. The exodus had been happening right under their noses. This is personal, James accused, his voice shaking. Because I never accepted you. Because you're not. Not what? I asked softly. Not white enough. Not rich enough. Not from the right background. I stepped closer. Or because I saw through your facade years ago? The room went silent. Even in 2025, some truths were uncomfortable in the halls of high finance. When Sarah first introduced us, I continued, you spent 20 minutes explaining basic investment concepts to me, after I'd already managed a billion-dollar fund. You never once asked about my background, my experience, my ideas. You saw what you wanted to see. Michael ran Goldman's Asian Markets division, William Sterling Sr. added, making James flinch. Before starting Phoenix. Something you'd know if you'd ever bothered to have a real conversation with him. Amy handed me another set of documents, the new organizational chart for Sterling and Maxwell. Your positions have been reassigned. Reassigned? Maxwell choked. You can't just. Actually, I smiled. I can. The board has already approved a complete restructuring. But I'm not completely heartless. I believe in second chances, even for people who never gave them to others. The weeks following what the financial press dubbed the Phoenix Revelation transformed both Sterling and Maxwell and the dynamics of my extended family. The firm's modernist headquarters, once a monument to old money exclusivity, now buzzed with diverse talent and genuine innovation. I sat in what used to be James's corner office, now converted into a state-of-the-art command center. The pretentious oil paintings had been replaced with interactive displays showing real-time global market movements. The only personal touch was my father's worn wallet, displayed in a simple frame, a reminder of where I came from. Mr. Zhang, Amy entered with her characteristic efficiency. The quarterly numbers are ready. And James is here again. Third time this week, I noted, reviewing data showing our client assets had grown 40% since the takeover. Still demanding his executive privileges back. Actually, Amy's professional mask cracked slightly. He's asking about the junior analyst program. I closed the report remembering my father's last words. Success without grace is just failure in expensive clothes. He'd said that even after being rejected for a loan by James's bank years ago. Send him in. James entered, his demeanor notably different from the man who'd thrown me out of the conference room weeks ago. His bespoke suit seemed to hang on him now, as if his arrogance had been holding it up before. Michael, he started, then stopped, visibly struggling with the new power dynamic. I've completed the analyst training modules. And I realize I knew less than I thought, he admitted, handing me a detailed analysis he'd prepared. I've identified several inefficiencies in our European operations. I reviewed his work, genuinely surprised by its thoroughness. This is good work, James. Shri good. Why didn't you apply this kind of attention before? He sank into a chair, his carefully maintained facade crumbling. Because I never had to. The name Sterling opened every door, so I just coasted. He met my eyes for the first time since the takeover. Like you never could. Like you never did. Every door that closed taught me something, I replied. About resilience, about innovation, about human nature. Especially about human nature. My phone buzzed, Maxwell requesting another meeting. He'd been alternating between legal threats and awkward peace offerings since discovering his access to firm resources had been restricted. Have you talked to your partner lately? I asked James. He's struggling, James admitted. The compliance position you offered is more than his record deserves, I finished. The SEC audit found enough violations to justify a lifetime ban. Then why didn't you report him? I walked to the window, looking out at the city where my father had arrived as an immigrant with nothing but dreams and determination. Because everyone deserves one chance at redemption. Not because they deserve it, but because offering it makes us better. Amy appeared with more reports, the latest innovations from our newly established quantitative trading division, freed from old-school restrictions. The tech integration presentation is ready. And Mrs. Sterling left another message about the family foundation. Ah yes, the foundation, James's mother's pride and joy, now under new management. Send her the new governance guidelines. The foundation continues, but with actual metrics for impact. James studied me thoughtfully. You're not destroying our legacy like everyone feared. You're reinventing it. I learned more from watching your failures than you did from experiencing them, I replied. Every time you dismissed me, I worked harder. Every time you flaunted your inherited position, I built something earned. My phone buzzed again, the board requesting an emergency session. But this time it was good news. Our new algorithmic trading platform had exceeded all projections, pushing Sterling and Maxwell to the forefront of financial technology. Did you know, I told James, that your father kept detailed journals of his early days? His vision wasn't about social status or family prestige. It was about financial innovation, about creating real value. I never read them, he admitted. I was too busy playing the role of the entitled heir. Well, I slid a folder across the desk. Here's your chance to write a new chapter. The analyst position is yours if you want it. Same salary as every other junior analyst, same opportunities for advancement based on merit. He picked up the contract, his hands steady now. And if I succeed? Then you'll advance. Just like anyone else. I gestured to the screens showing our global operations. Look at what we've accomplished in weeks. Real innovation, real growth, real respect. Amy brought in the latest employee satisfaction surveys, up 70% since the restructuring. Turns out people prefer working for a company that values performance over pedigree. Mr. Zhang, she announced, your wife Sarah is here. I smiled, remembering how I'd kept my true role hidden even from her, wanting her to love me for who I was, not what I owned. Show her in. James, stay if you'd like. It's time she knew everything. Sarah entered, her eyes widening at seeing her brother in my office. Michael? James? What's going on? Your husband, James said quietly, is the most brilliant financial mind I've ever met. And I was too blind to see it until now. I pulled up the Phoenix Group's complete portfolio on the screens. Sarah, remember how you always said I was too humble about my work? There's something I need to show you. Her eyes grew wider as she processed the information, the billions in assets, the global reach, the strategic brilliance that had built an empire while she thought I was running a small consulting firm. All this time, she whispered. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted to be just Michael to someone, I replied softly. Not the investor, not the CEO, just the man you fell in love with. James stood up, looking between us. I'll start on that European analysis, he said, heading for the door. At the threshold he paused. Michael, I was wrong about you. About everything. After he left, Sarah walked around the office taking it all in. So all those dinners when James was bragging about his latest deals. I owned most of the companies he was talking about. I finished. But I preferred listening to you talk about your students. She touched my father's framed wallet. Your dad would be so proud. He was proud already, I said. Because I married for love, not advantage. Because I built something real, not just an image. My phone buzzed one final time, global markets responding to our latest innovations. Sterling and Maxwell was no longer just another old money investment firm. It was becoming something more, something better. Amy, I called out, schedule the board meeting for tomorrow. And Sarah, would you like to see what your modest husband really does? The sun set over the financial district, casting long shadows through the glass walls. Somewhere out there my father's spirit was smiling, knowing that his son had not just succeeded in their world, he'd transformed it.